CNN, BBC, France, 24. I'm watching you all. I'm recording every lie. I'm archiving every distortion. I am Ibrahim Traoré, and today I'm pulling off your masks.
Beneath Burkina Faso's dry plains and rugged hills lies something extraordinary, something hidden for generations. A land once dismissed as poor is, in fact, rich beyond imagination.
I mean, looking at Burkina Faso's achievements, right? I can't help but wonder, what if every African country took control of its own natural resources in this way?
Gold, rare minerals, untapped energy, resources buried deep, concealed by centuries of silence. But one man dared to question the narrative. Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't just take power, he took initiative. With sharp intelligence and a will to reclaim African dignity, he unearthed what colonial powers left behind, a trillion-dollar empire. This documentary tells the story they never wanted told, until now. Welcome to the unveiling. Gold, lithium, and Africa's lost riches. Hidden deep within Burkina Faso's arid soil lies a treasure trove that rivals the wealth of empires. Gold, lithium, cobalt, even diamonds. For decades, these riches were siphoned off through backdoor deals, colonial-era contracts, and multinationals that promised development but left only deeper poverty. But Ibrahim Traoré? He turned the future of this land. What outsiders once viewed as a powerless patch of the Sahel, Traoré saw as a gold mine, literally and figuratively. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso began to audit its mines, revoke unfair contracts, and, for the first time, map its resources on its own terms. Entire lithium belts were discovered in the country's southeast, attracting attention not from foreign vultures, but from African engineers, scientists, and local startups, now given priority in the bidding process. This wasn't about protectionism, it was about sovereignty. Traoré understood something most leaders ignored, that Africa's poverty is not due to lack of wealth, but lack of control over that wealth. So, when he renationalized several gold mines and redirected the profits into rural schools, clinics, and infrastructure, it wasn't just policy, it was revolution. And with each ton of cobalt or lithium unearthed under a locally owned license, Burkina Faso wasn't just mining minerals, it was mining back its dignity. This was Africa under new management, oil, gas, and the great African energy awakening. While gold and rare earths made headlines, Traoré was digging even deeper, literally. Beneath Burkina Faso's dry crust, new geological surveys confirmed deposits of oil and natural gas previously thought too insignificant to extract. But Traoré's administration brought in independent African geologists and tech-backed exploration firms who weren't loyal to ExxonMobil or Total Energies, but to African soil. What they found was staggering. Reserves that could power the region and shift the nation from energy importing to energy exporting in under a decade. Traoré didn't rush into the hands of the usual suspects. Instead, he partnered with Pan-African energy cooperatives and local entrepreneurs. The new state-backed firm, Soleil Énergie, was launched to build refineries, pipelines, and solar hybrid energy corridors run by Burkinabe talent. Rather than flaring gas or selling it off raw, Burkina Faso began converting natural gas into compressed fuel for domestic use, slashing fuel costs by nearly 30% in less than a year. And that's just the start. Hydrogen initiatives are now in pilot stages, led by Burkinabe students trained in Algeria and South Africa. This energy pivot isn't just about economics, it's about sovereignty, innovation, and putting Burkinabe mines at the forefront of Africa's clean energy future. Ibrahim Traoré isn't just extracting energy, he's electrifying an entire philosophy, energy independence as the backbone of political independence. When your lights, your engines, your cities are powered by your own soil, you don't need the IMF or World Bank breathing down your neck. You light your path alone. Rare earths and diamonds, building the empire of tomorrow. Beyond oil and gold, Traoré's real masterstroke was uncovering Burkina Faso's rare earth elements, the unsung heroes of the modern tech world. These aren't your everyday minerals. These are the backbone of smartphones, electric vehicles, missiles, satellites, everything the 21st century runs on. And for years, the West and China treated African rare earths like a secret supply depot. But Traoré, he kicked open the gates. He commissioned one of the largest geological scans in West African history, using drones, satellites, and AI analysis to pinpoint deposits of neodymium, yttrium, and dysprosium. What they found shocked even the skeptics. Under Traoré's watch, Burkina Faso could become a continental hub for rare earth refining, something Africa has never had on its own soil. No more exporting raw ore just to import it back at 100 times the price. The plan? Build refineries on Burkinabe land, staffed by Burkinabe engineers and backed by state equity. And the diamonds? Those weren't for European vaults anymore. New artisanal diamond laws legalized and regulated local miners, allowing them to sell directly to certified African jewelers and banks. It's no longer about extraction, it's about ownership, value addition, and rewriting the story on Africa's underground wealth. For once, the profits aren't vanishing overseas. They're staying in the soil, the system, and the hands of the people who own them. Every carat now had a passport. No more blood diamonds, just Burkinabe brilliance. This is what Traoré meant when he said, Africa doesn't need aid, it needs access to itself. Because what's being built in Burkina Faso is not just industry, it's identity, it's empire. A $1 trillion African empire built on fairness, technology, and pride. From exploitation to empowerment, ending the colonial economy. Traoré's most powerful weapon isn't a tank or a drone, it's economic philosophy. For too long, Africa exported everything and imported value. Export cotton, import shirts. Export gold, import smartphones. That logic, designed by colonial powers and enforced by modern banks, ensured that no African nation could rise without begging. But Traoré said no more. In a historic move, he launched Burkina Faso's Resource Sovereignty Act, forcing all foreign companies to partner with local entities and contribute to national funds. He capped mineral exports until local refining and processing capacity could meet demand. It was bold, it was risky, and it worked. Burkina Faso's GDP began shifting from extraction to transformation. Youth unemployment dropped. Technical schools overflowed with applicants learning metallurgy, software, and agritech. Traoré also established the Burkina Investment Trust, a national wealth fund powered by mineral revenues, which reinvests in housing, education, and infrastructure. It's like Norway's oil fund, but for West Africa, a sovereign cushion built from the ground up, backed not by foreign aid, but by Burkinabe ambition. And the most beautiful part? It's contagious. Mali, Niger, and Guinea are adopting similar frameworks. Regional coalitions are forming, shared infrastructure, shared data, shared goals. What Traoré is building is bigger than Burkina Faso. It's a blueprint for the continent. He's proving that Africa can own its narrative, write its contracts, and cash its own checks. That the future isn't in begging for partnerships, it's in setting the terms. And that scares the hell out of old powers who benefited from the chaos. Because when Africa gets organized, it gets unstoppable. When young leaders prioritize sovereignty over applause, everything changes. And in Traoré's case, it already has. Pan-African unity through resource power, a vision realized. If there's one thing Ibrahim Traoré understands, it's that no African country can stand tall if its neighbors are on their knees. That's why every mineral discovered, every refinery built, every piece of legislation passed in Burkina Faso is crafted with one eye on the Pan-African dream. Traoré isn't just building a country, he's building a movement. He's hosted summits with Mali, Niger, and Guinea on forming a West African resource alliance, where countries pool their resources, share refining tech, and negotiate as a bloc. No more begging separately. In these meetings, Traoré laid out a stunning proposal, a Pan-African dinar, backed not by faith or foreign currency, but by real assets, gold, lithium, cobalt, a currency made in Africa, backed by Africa. This isn't idealism, it's strategy. When resource-rich nations speak with one voice, they flip the global table, and Traoré knows it. That's why he's investing in fiber optic networks connecting with neighbors, railway systems bypassing old colonial ports, and African development banks to finance each other, not go to Paris for a loan. Burkina Faso today is what Ghana dreamt of in the 60s, what Sankara died fighting for. Traoré's empire isn't one of conquest, it's of cooperation. A $1 trillion African engine that runs on unity, not division, because when Africa finally owns its wealth, it owns its destiny. Burkina Faso was never poor, it was hidden. What Ibrahim Traoré uncovered isn't just a cache of resources, but a symbol of Africa's stolen legacy. As the maps are redrawn and the global gaze shifts, the question becomes, who controls the future of Africa's wealth? For Traoré, this is not about money. It's about sovereignty, justice, and truth. And while the world watches, a quiet revolution is underway. From beneath the soil to the hearts of the people, Africa is rising on its own terms. This is only the beginning.